Hello, happy Tuesday. I wanted to come on live to talk about. I actually just did a podcast yesterday sharing about parasite cleansing. And as much as I share about parasite cleansing, it seems like there's still a lot of confusion out there. So I wanted to come onto the live and just talk about parasite cleansing. This is one of my favorite topics. Oops, let me center myself. This is one of my favorite topics, something that I love sharing about because unfortunately, a lot of people still don't know that every single one of us has parasites, and parasites can infiltrate your nervous system. They can affect your thoughts, your emotions, and your cravings. And so this is something that a lot of people still don't know about. And so I thought I would come on live and just share some tips. So I'm Julie with Balanced Life with Julie. I'm a regenerative health practitioner and a holistic nutritionist. And one of my missions and my passions is to really share about all the ways that you can take control of your own personal health and well-being so that you're not reliant on practitioners or doctors or other people, that you actually know that how your body functions and you know how to take care of it in terms of your health and your well-being. It's interesting, I was on a call just before I did this live, and the woman that I was doing the call with really shared about how our physical body is really this vessel, how our physical body is a vessel for our soul. It's basically a house or a home for our soul. And if you're like me and you think of life from not just the physical perspective, but also the spiritual perspective. And one of the things that I like to say all the time is, and it's not my quote, I think it's either Deepak Chopra's quote or someone else, but I seem to think that it's Deepak Chopra's quote. But we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so our body is really just kind of like this suit for our soul. And this is why it is vitally important to take care of your physical vessel, because it's going to make things so much better for you, not just in terms of your mood and how you feel physically, but just in your overall consciousness in terms of your physical body. So yesterday I was a guest on a podcast sharing about all kinds of things, but especially about parasites. And oftentimes when people think about like that, the possibility that they may have parasites, a lot of people don't like that idea. They get very nervous about it. And they also get really impatient. They kind of want to take care of the parasites right then and there, right that second. And so it is really important that you actually properly prepare your body for parasite cleansing. And so generally when I work with people, we're taking about 20 to 21 days to prep the body in terms of changing the diet, opening up elimination pathways, doing some heavy metal detox. That way we are able to weaken the parasites before we get in there with anti-parasitic herbs. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people have a very acidic diet. So if you're eating tons of meat and dairy, lots of processed foods, lots of processed sugar, lots of bread, all of these things are very, very stagnating for the body, meaning that they create a lot of acidity within your system. And so it can become quite challenging for your body to function properly. But when there's that kind of stagnation within your body, what ends up happening is the parasites are almost in there to try to help your body to deal with what is going on internally. So in a weird kind of way, they are trying to help, but they're not helping, because most often they're stealing your B vitamins, they're affecting your mood, your emotions. Maybe you're dealing with chronic aches and pains or constipation or diarrhea or brain fog. These are all signs that your system is being impacted by parasites. And a lot of people attribute these symptoms to just, well, I guess I'm getting older, I'm supposed to not feel good. And that's not it at all. your body is designed to feel good. You're supposed to feel good in your physical vessel. If you are not feeling good, it's actually a sign of imbalance. And rather than ignoring the signs, it's really, really important that you start to address the root causes. So, number one, before you can start parasite cleansing, start to change the diet. Shift it over from an acidic diet to a more alkaline diet. So that means a lot more fruits, and vegetables and greens and nourishing greens. I'm being presented with a plate of wraps. Anyway, so that's one part of it. The other part of it is making sure that your elimination pathways are open. So that means that you're going to the bathroom on a regular basis. As crazy as it sounds, a lot of people don't actually go to the bathroom on a regular basis. I have regularly have conversations with people who tell me that they only go to the bathroom like number two, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. You need to be going to the bathroom. You need to be pooping 2 or 3 times a day, not 2 or 3 times a week. In fact, I remember back in the day when I worked in the film business, I worked with a makeup artist and she only went to the bathroom once a week. That's a lot of stagnation within the body, and it is not healthy. If you're eating multiple times a day, your body needs to be able to extract the nutrients from your food, and you need to be able to get rid of the rest. If that is not happening, you're creating a serious backlog within your body. And what happens over time, if you're not going to the bathroom on a regular basis, those toxins start to, affect, they start to go back into the blood system. They start to create imbalance. And you definitely do not want that. So first thing is first, make sure that you start to change your diet. Start hydrating properly. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of molecular hydrogen, especially the bottle that I use that has frequencies, because what that's going to do is it's going to hydrate your body at the cell level. And that hydration is also going to help to create more nourishment at the cell level, which is something that you definitely want. So, of course, changing the diet first, opening up the elimination pathways, doing a heavy metal detox of some sort. I work with a few different types of heavy metal detoxes. So I just kind of vary it depending on what the person is dealing with, what's going on in their physical body. And so the reason that we would want to do a heavy metal detox before parasite cleansing is that heavy metal detox will allow your body to, because parasites feed on heavy metals, when you start to remove those heavy metals that they're feeding on out of your system, it's going to weaken the parasites and it's going to help the anti-parasitic herbs to be far more effective. So, sorry, I got a dog hanging out here. And usually, so typically when I do an initial parasite cleanse with someone, they'll do about 10 days on with herbs, 14 days off, and another 10 days on. And then usually at that point, I like to do a little bit of an assessment and see how are they feeling, how's the diet, how are the diet changes going, how's their mood, how's their energy. And then there's a second protocol that ideally I'd like to do, which actually has a blood upgrade that's a part of the protocol, but it's 4 months long. And it's actually really, really simple. It doesn't even really require diet change, but it does require consistency. So you want to make sure that you're all in for the 4 months. And what happens with that particular protocol is not only are you improving the quality of your blood, lengthening the telomeres in your body, but you're also helping to detox chemicals, heavy metals, parasites, pathogens, some spike proteins as well. And I love pairing that particular program partway through with a plant enzyme protocol that really goes after anything that might be still in your system. And then I follow that up with a very short 5 to 7 day anti-parasitic herbal protocol. And then that's usually it. Like by that point, all in, we're about, maybe 5 to 6 months into those different protocols, but you've done two to three different types of anti-parasitic herbs throughout that, which means that you've really gone in there and really cleaned up the system. It changed the internal terrain within your body and really got rid of anything that should not be there. So that's how I like to parasite cleanse, ideally with someone. Now, sometimes after the first couple of rounds, people need to take a break, in which case I highly suggest being in a maintenance mode in terms of diet, not going too extreme on anything, but staying very, very consistent on eating lots of whole foods, lots of plant foods, tons and tons of fruit. Because the thing, especially with the astringent fruits like grapes, watermelons, those are kind of like my top two. What that does is it really moves the toxicity out of the system. It starts to move the lymph quite consistently, which is what you want. And the very, very great thing about that particular way of eating is you're actually also hydrating your body properly, because fruit has a lot of water content in it. It has a lot of structured water content in it, and it is very, very beneficial for health. So I did go live earlier today. I just wanted to come on live real quick because yesterday I did the podcast and I was talking about parasite cleansing. I kind of felt like I wanted to come back on here and just talk about the couple of different ways that I like to parasite cleanse myself and for my clients. And what I find is what I just described to you, that those protocols, once someone has gone through those protocols, especially if they're dealing with an autoimmune condition or any kind of chronic health issue, by that point in time, after a few months, all their symptoms, or probably 99% of their symptoms, have completely gone away. And then it's all about continuing to make positive diet and lifestyle changes or decisions going forward. And then in terms of the parasite cleansing, you don't have to go that intensely. The blood upgrade, I have people do once. It's a one-time 4-month protocol, and then that's it. You're done. You don't need to repeat it again. And then even in terms of parasite cleansing, we can focus on doing 5 to 7 days over a full moon, 2 to 3 times a year. And then that's it. We don't need to be doing all this intensive stuff aside from that. So, and then it really kind of depends on the person if they want to go deeper. Now, I do suggest that it is really, really important to kind of roll up your sleeves and do that internal work a couple times a year in terms of parasite cleansing and making sure that you're eating a very rich alkaline diet that's full of micronutrients and very, very alkalizing for the body and hydrating for the body. I recommend doing that ongoing, but doing like more sort of like a high fruit, high raw, doing that at least during the period where you're trying to parasite cleanse, ideally more than that. But some people, they're not ready to make that dietary shift, but I do suggest when you're parasite cleansing to go there to make that shift. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. It is a little bit on the short and sweet side today. If you have any comments, please post them below. I love answering questions. I love replying to comments. And if you found value in this video, please share it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. And if you're curious about parasite cleansing, make sure that you check the links below this video. There is the transformation, which is one of the best ways that you can start your journey in terms of getting more micronutrients into your body, working on your gut health, and starting to address parasites. Or you can also check out my program Elevate, which goes over multiple different types of protocols, and it's really great for anybody who's looking to do weight loss or is addressing or having to deal or is dealing with multiple chronic health issues, especially autoimmune conditions. That program is great because I walk you through different protocols, and there is live weekly support for that program as well. So all of that is going to be linked up below. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're catching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.